Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Ran. In this channel, I share knowledge and practical techniques on trauma healing and everything about mental health. Today I wanted to talk about one concept in depth, even though we have heard a lot of times, which is the sense of self, but it is something that took me years to really comprehend. Not until I understand in depth through both awareness and also body sensations, I wasn't able to really use it in my own healing. I wanted to share my knowledge on this, so let's jump right into it. A sense of self refers to the feeling of being anchored in yourself. So you know that in various situations, there's a congruence of how you would act, of how different parts of yourself are feeling and perceiving the same thing. So in a way that there's a stable sense of who you are, what you like, what you want to do. When you have this definition of yourself, you would interact with the environment, with other people, with this sense of self, with this perception that you have. I know there are a lot of videos talking about how to build boundary with other people, how to set this bottom line so that other people can respect who you are. The first essential step is not to learn how to act towards other people. It is actually how to know who you are. It's to have personal boundary first, which is a personal definition. So if you lack the sense of self, how it gets manifested. Something I have personally been through is that for years, I always have this habitual response when I do things. I always tend to choose somebody's angle to look at myself in doing these things. For example, when I go to the gym, when I work out, and I would imagine someone, sometimes the guy I have a crush on, sometimes just my boss or leader or a friend or something. Like they are observing me in the scene and they are giving me compliments and they are commenting on how I work out at the gym. Like, wow, you have a lot of strength. Wow, this posture is really great. And you have accomplished a lot. You're actually very competitive. Or sometimes I would imagine like I and this person are doing the same thing together and they're interacting me even though they're not actually at the same. And it's something that I couldn't figure out for years and I felt ashamed to talk about, because how weird if you tell someone that you're obsessing about their compliments, about their seeing you, about them being there in your imaginations. So it's pretty bizarre. Through years of therapy, I have come to understand that it was because the lack of self, because I imagine them watching me, observing me, commenting on how I do things, complimenting me, giving me care and love and all those stuff was exactly the reflection I have, because I don't know how to do these things for myself, because I'm not grounded and anchored in my own presence. I'm not feeling what my body is. I'm not feeling what my emotion is. I have to imagine someone to do this mirroring process for me. And this mirroring process was in early developmental stage, what parents, what caregivers do for a baby, for an infant. Because a baby, an infant, doesn't know it exists until the mother, in this case, right, reflecting on, well, you're feeling sad, you're hungry, you're crying, and I'm gonna come for you and all those. So when the mother is mirroring what the baby does, the baby learns, oh, this is me feeling sad, this is me in my presence, and this is me going through all those emotions, and this is me doing something. So the baby starts to develop a sense of self at this stage, at this young stage, right? But when people are not mirrored sufficiently when we're children, we could get stuck at the stage. We could still have this hunger to be mirrored about who we are, because we have no idea, well, how we feel, how we think, how we view things, how we act under circumstances. We have to imagine someone else doing this mirroring process. But the goal here is that we're using someone's existence to assure that we exist, to assure about who we are. We haven't formed a habit yet. We haven't learned how to do this by ourselves. We still kept trying. We still kept attempting to be mirrored, to find this existence of ourselves through someone's eyes. because this emptiness is scary, and this emptiness, this floating sense, is profoundly sad. It shows this existential crisis within us. On top of that, we have this sense of undeserving, to view things from our perspective, because we never know that we deserve this kind of importance, to be noticed, to be mirrored, to be confirmed, and to be entitled to see things, to do things out of our own willingness and wishes. We have learned to adapt to the environment, to adapt to our parents, to cater for their needs, to make them happy, to appease them, to be compliant, to people please, because that's the way we learned to survive in the household without inducing shame, without inducing being criticized or abandoned. We have to be reassured by someone else that what we're doing is okay, who we are is okay, how we be is okay. Other than that, we don't know, we panic. We're not sure if our wishes or needs or emotions are correct and are legitimate and are not going to be punished. Next, I'm going to offer some tips in developing this sense of self. Even though we weren't lucky enough to have a positive mirroring process when we were children, but we can still learn to reparent ourselves, learn to guide ourselves through the process of building up the sense of self. The first step is to really be in touch with your feelings and emotions. So when I'm talking about feelings, I'm not talking about, well, I feel this way, I feel that way, I feel it's unfair. I'm talking about your body sensations. For example, when I'm depressed, I tend to feel like my body is sinking. I felt this heaviness in my chest and right above my stomach. And I felt like my body would turn to this collapsed kind of mode. And I would just feel exhausted, and I felt like there's no hope at all. So this is how I would respond when I feel depressed. On the other hand, when I'm anxious, I would shallow breath, like because I'm anxious, like I'm hypervigilant, I'm worried that something bad is going to happen. I have this nagging sense of unsafety in my body. There are other things, for example, shame. When I'm facing this inner critic, or when I feel like I'm being judged or criticized by someone, I would, retrieve, and I would just tend to be really small and still, to not be visible and found by other people, because this is the only way I know how to stay safe. So you need to find your patterns. You need to really get sense of how you feel and what your emotions are towards certain situation. Emotions are really important guidance towards healing, because it tells you where to look, how to dig deeper, and what's underneath, what pain is it underneath those emotions. It motivates you to make changes, so just don't try to avoid emotions. I'm sure a lot of you have known that avoidance of emotions doesn't really make you feel better. Temporarily, it allows you to escape the situation, but in the long run, this pain is gonna be buried even deeper, become invisible to you, but it's secretly impacting everything you do and how you view the world in a negative way. The second step is to understand your thoughts and your motives. Sometimes those intrusive thoughts, if they are a pattern, it means that it needs you pay attention to it. For example, personally, I would always imagine like the person that I'm obsessed with to do things with me, to compliment me and give me positive regard. It has been a pattern because I discovered it in every relationship of mine. It turned out that I was actually viewing this person not only as my partner, but also as a idealized parental figure that I never had. I wanted this unconditional love, care, attention, compliments, and nurturing, and engagement from my mom, from my dad. But I projected this idealized image onto this person that I'm with. So I have to constantly, in my mind, to maintain this connection I have towards this person, to make sure that I don't lose that love. When you have figured out the motives behind those repetitive, intrusive, and compulsive thoughts, you will start to break free from the shame and from the fear. It sets you free because you will understand, well, it's not about the situation that's currently happening. It's about the projections from the past. So it really helps you bring your power back from controlling someone, manipulating someone else, to yourself, to know, well, which is the third step, know that what my wants are, what my needs are, what my desires are underneath my surface behaviors. Instead of trying to change the external situations, how people react, how they should have said this, they should have done that, how they should change themselves to cater for you, to prove that they love you and all that, you bring your power back to yourself when you try to figure out, well, what my needs are. Maybe I can learn to navigate accessible resources to help me meet my needs. For example, if what I need is connection, I can try to find my friends to take a walk with me. In nurturing people who can give me compliments, who can try to be compassionate when I go through tough stuff, instead of grabbing and holding on to the one person I know that might be preoccupied and might be distant to me. If what I need is feeling safe, maybe I can go to a safer environment, maybe to hang out with a group of people who I know are compassionate, or I can build inner safety through body sensations, through staying and understanding my emotions, through understanding my own needs, so that I feel safe that, well, there's no need to be anxious or panicking because I will be here for myself to go through situations. I will not abandon myself anymore, so that I know I will be okay. One thing important to keep in mind is that needs, they just don't go away. They cannot be eradicated. It can be suppressed though. But what I want you to do is to really dig deep into what your needs are and get them met. If not by yourself, by someone else. Find necessary resources to meet those needs so that you can feel like, well, maybe my needs are really important. Maybe my needs matter to someone. Maybe I'm entitled. I deserve to meet my needs and feel good about myself. Alright everyone, I hope this video is helpful. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you wanted to see more videos like this, please subscribe and I'll see you next time.